Okay, let us go with that. So when you are considering, so I am going to calculate first of all the effective capacitance, okay, effective capacitance between P and Q. So for that I am drawing it again. So if I am drawing it again, in order to calculate the effective capacitance between P and Q, I am having four capacitors like this. Here you are having the point P. Here you are having the point Q. This is C1, this is C2, this is C3, this is C4. If so, how you can consider? See, in first step we can take the C1 and the C3 be in series, the C2 and the C4 in series. So C1, C3 series means let us consider it as CS1. C2 and C4 in series means let us take it out as CS2. So in step 1, I am writing it like this. From the figure, C1 and C2, because P and Q are across P and Q only, we have to take the effective capacitance. So C1, C3 are in series and C2, C4 are in series. So we can write C1 and C3 are in series. So the effective capacitance is CS1. So if it is series means how I can calculate CS1? 1 by CS1 is equal to 1 by C1 plus 1 by C3. So on simplifying, I can write 1 by CS1 equal to, taking LCM on the other side, here I can write C1, C3. So here I will be getting C1 plus C3. Taking reciprocal, CS1 is equal to C1, C3 divided by C1 plus C3. So first of all, I have calculated CS1. Similarly, you go for the next one. What is the next one? Step 2. When you are considering step 2, C2 and C4 are in series. C2 and C4 are in series. If so, you have to calculate what is the value of CS2. So how I can calculate? 1 by CS2 is equal to 1 by C2 plus 1 divided by C4. So 1 divided by CS2 equal to, taking LCM, C2, C4. So I can write C2 plus C4. Taking reciprocal, you can write CS2 equal to C2, C4 divided by C2 plus C4. Am I correct? Now, after taking this, how I can draw a diagram? See, here you are having P and here you are having Q. In between P and Q, on the left hand side, you are having CS1. And on the right hand side, you are having what? You are having CS2. So this diagram is converted like this. So what will be the step 3? Step 3 will be giving you the effective capacitance. Here it was considered CS1 and CS2 are in parallel. CS1 and CS2 are in parallel. If so, CP will be giving you the C effective. What is that value? So I can write C effective is equal to CP. CP is CS1 plus CS2. So C effective equal to, what is CS1? CS1 is C1 C3 divided by C1 plus C3 plus CS2 is C2 C4 divided by C2 plus C4. So C effective is equal to, taking a common factor, C1 plus C3 multiplied it with C2 plus C4. This is LCM. So in numerator, the first term as it is, C1, C3, multiply, cross multiply. C2 plus C4 plus C2, C4 as it is, multiplied it with C1 plus C3. Now simplify. How you can simplify? You just multiply to get simplification. How to multiply? So C effective equal to, when you are in denominator, you can keep as it is, isn't it? Denominator, you can keep as it is. So denominator is C1 plus C3 multiplied it with C2 plus C4. But in the numerator, you multiply with the C2 first of all, you get C1, C3 into C2 plus, then with the C4, C1, C3, C4 plus, again with the C1, C2, C4, C1 plus, again with the C3, you will be getting it out as C2, C4 and C3. This is the final answer that you are able to get for the effective capacitance. If you are considering what? If you are considering or if you are taking the effective capacitance across P and Q, R and S. So adile second concept. So effective capacitance across R, S. So let us draw the diagram again. So when I am considering the diagram again, here I am having the point R and here I am having the point S. So across this, you are having 4 capacitances. Okay, you are having 4 capacitances like this. So this one we can write it out as C1, this one write it out as C2, this one write it out as C3, this one write it out as C4. See, if it is across R and S, you see, the C1 and C2 are in series to give CS1. Then C3 and C4 are in series to give CS2. So first of all, let us consider step 1. So I can consider step 1 like this. In step 1, C1 and C2 are in series. If C1 and C2 are in series, then what is the value of CS1? We have to calculate. So how to calculate CS1? 1 by CS1 is equal to 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2. So 1 by CS1 is equal to 1 divided by, we can take the LCM, we can simplify directly. So take an LCM. What is LCM? C1, C2 is the LCM. So in the numerator, you will be getting C2 plus C1 or C1 plus C2. So taking reciprocal, CS1 is equal to C1, C2 divided by C1 plus C2. So I have calculated CS1. Similarly, go for CS2. So how to calculate CS2? C3 and C4, you take the step 2. So when I am considering step 2, I can state C3 and C4 are in series. So C3 and C4 are in series means then I can write what is the value of CS2. So 1 by CS2 equal to 1 by C3 plus 1 by C4. So taking simplification, we can write C3, C4 as LCM. You will be getting C4 plus C3, which is 1 by CS2. Taking reciprocal, CS2 equal to, I can write like this, C3, C4 divided by C3 plus C4. Now, what is the effective capacitance, effective diagram for this? Effective diagram, I can draw the C1 and C2 in series. So I will be getting CS1. Then in the below, you are getting another effective capacitance called to be CS2. These two are now connected in parallel. Here you are having S and here you are having R. So from diagram, we can say R and S are in parallel. R and S are in parallel. So R and S are in parallel means we can write CP is equal to C effective. we have to calculate C effective, which is CP. CP is CS1 plus CS2. So you add both, you will be able to get the answer. So what is C effective now? Therefore, C effective is equal to CS1 plus CS2. What is CS1? CS1 is C1, C2 divided by C1 plus C2 plus what is CS2? CS2 is C3, C4 divided by C3 plus C4. So how to simplify? Take an LCM. So LCM is C1 plus C2 multiplied it with C3 plus C4. So in the numerator you get already you are having C1, C2 for C1 plus C2. So the excess available is C3 plus C4 plus here you are having C3, C4 by C3 plus C4, but excess available is C1 plus C2. Multiply, you will be getting the answer. So C effective is equal to denominator as it is C1 plus C2, here C3 plus C4. What is the remaining? When you are multiplying it with the C3, C1, C2, C3 plus C1, C2, C4 plus here when you are multiplying C3, C4, C1 plus C3, C4, C2. So this is considered to be the final answer available for effective capacitance across what? Across the 2 points R and S. So the fifth subdivision, we are asked to calculate C effective across PQ. It is asked across PQ, what is C effective? So I will be naming these capacitors. How? This one is C1, this one is C2, this one is C3, this one is C4, and this one is C5. Like this, I am naming it out. After naming, I am writing the step 1. What is step 1? The C1 and the C2 in series, C3 and C4 in series. So the step 1 is C1 and C2 are in series. If C1 and C2 are in series, then the effective capacitance is CS1. What is its value? So 1 by CS1 is equal to 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2. C1 is 0. Again, C2 is also 1 by 0. So 1 by CS1 is equal to, how you can able to get 2 by C0, or CS1 is equal to C0 divided by 2. Similarly, you go for step 2. See what is step 2? This C3 and C4 are in series. C3 and C4 are in what? C3 and C4 are in series. So what is the value of CS2 then? I can write 1 by CS2 equal to 1 by C3 plus 1 by C4. 1 by C3 is 1 by C0. 1 by C4 is also 1 by C0. So 1 by CS2 equal to 2 by C0, or CS2 is equal to C0 divided by 2. Now, what is the step 3? When you are considering, in order to study this step 3, you have to draw an equivalent diagram. C1 and C2 replaced with one capacitance called to be CS1. Then C3 and C4 replaced with another capacitance called to be CS2. In between, you are having the another capacitance called to be C5. All these are being joined here. And here you are having Q and here you are having P. So from this, I can say CS1, C5 and CS2 are in parallel. If all these are in parallel, what is the effective capacitance? CP is the effective capacitance. So C effective is equal to CS1 plus C5 plus CS2. So add out what is CS1? CS1 is C0 divided by 2 plus what is C5? C0. What is CS2? C0 divided by 2. Taking 2 as the common factor, LCM, C effective is C0 plus 2C0 plus C0. So C effective is equal to 4C0 divided by 2. On simplifying, you will be able to get C effective is equal to 2C0 as its answer. Hope you should have understood this problem. See, again, go through the problem, and the electron and the proton are allowed to fall through the separation between the plates of a parallel plate capacitor of voltage 5 volt. So the potential difference or the voltage in between the two plates is considered to be 5 volt, and the separation is, let us consider this separation as D, or given as H, which is equal to 1 millimeter converted to meter. So it is 10 to the power of minus 3 meter. Now calculate the time of flight for both electron and proton. What are the things asked? Time of flight for electron and time of flight for proton. Then what is the next one? B asked, suppose if a neutron is allowed to fall, what is the time of flight? Time of flight for neutron, Tn. Among these three, which will reach the bottom first? Which particle, either electron or proton or neutron, which particle will reach bottom first? That was the question asked. Okay. See how to calculate this time of electron or time for proton or time for neutron. First of all, we know the potential and the distance. So you calculate the electrical field E. Electrical field is given by the formula V divided by D. What is V? V is 5 divided by D. Distance is 10 power minus 3. So electrical field E is equal to 5 into 10 to the power of 3 volt per meter. This we are calling it out as the value of electrical field. Why we have calculated the value of electrical field? Then only I can able to calculate acceleration. Because when an electron or a proton is kept inside the electrical field, they experience a force. Force experience is generally given by the formula E into Q. If it is electron, I can write QE. If it is proton, I can write FB. So how I can able to calculate then? Force can be written as mass into acceleration, which is equal to E into Q. So acceleration produced on the particle in general given by EQ divided by M. So if I want to calculate the acceleration for electron, here I have to substitute, instead of Q, I have to substitute charge of the electron. If I want to calculate the acceleration for the proton, then I have to replace Q with charge of the proton. Okay, what are the given quantities? You see, they have given mass of proton. Mass of proton is 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 27 kilogram. Then they have given mass of electron 9.1 into 10 to the power of minus 31 kilogram. And they have given acceleration due to gravity G as 10 meter per second square. Apart from this, we can also write charge of proton is equal to charge of electron equal to 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb. First of all, I am calculating the time of flight for electron. Time of flight for electron. How I can able to calculate the time of flight for electron? See, we know the equations of motion. According to the equation of motion, we know the formula S is equal to ut plus half into at square. What is here? What is S? S is the vertical displacement developed. What is that vertical displacement? From one plate to another plate. That is considered to be H. What is U? U is taken to be the initial downward velocity, that is 0. What is T? I am writing T as the time of flight for electron that has to be calculated. What is A? Acceleration. Here I have calculated. Acceleration is nothing but E into what is Q? Charge of electron divided by mass of electron. That I can able to calculate what? That I can able to calculate acceleration, or I can write like this. How I can write? E into QE can be written as force acting on the electron divided by mass of the electron. You take all these values and substitute it here. What will happen? You see, S instead of S, I can write H. Instead of U, you have to write 0. 0 into T plus half into what is A. Either I can write E into Q of E or F. Both are same. Divided by mass of electron multiplied with time for time taken. Time taken is TE square. Here it is TE. So the first term becomes 0. So I am getting H is equal to, what is the formula? Half into E into or E into QE divided by ME. This is charge per mass ratio into T square. So what is this? How I can simplify this? I have to calculate T. So I am writing T square is equal to, make a cross multiplication, 2 into H into mass of the electron whole divided by, take numerator to the denominator by cross multiplying. So you will be getting E into QE. Am I correct? If you want to calculate TE, that is time taken for electron, then you have to take the square root of 2 into what is H. H is, we have calculated, it was being given that 10 to the power of minus 3 into what is mass of electron. Mass of electron is 9.1 into 10 to the power of minus 31 whole divided by what is the electrical field E? It is given as 5 into 10 to the power of 3 into what is QE? That is charge of the electron, 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19. This is what we have got by substitution. Time of flight, I have given it out in terms of root. You multiply 2 and 9.1, you will be able to get it out as 18.2. In denominator, 5 into 1.6, it is 8 into powers simplify pannona 10 power minus 31, here 10 power minus 3. So you will be able to get 10 power minus 34. Here in the denominator, you will be having 10 power 3, 10 power minus 19, 10 power minus 16. So on simplifying, you will be getting 10 to the power of minus 18. Taking square root for 10 power minus 18, you will be getting 10 power minus 9. So inside the root, you are having 18.2 divided by 8. On dividing 18.2 by 8, you are getting 2.27. So root of 2.27 into 10 power minus 9. Root of 2.27 is nearly 1.5. So time of flight for electron is 1.5 into 10 to the power of minus 9 seconds. So subdivision B, time taken for proton. Time taken for proton. This is not subdivision B. In the same subdivision A, second one. You see, you take this formula. T, instead of TE, you put TP. So TP is equal to square root of 2 into H into ME. Instead of ME, I can substitute MP, mass of proton, divided by E into charge of proton. The same formula, the same procedure. Instead of electron, I have to substitute proton. So what is time taken for proton? Our TP is equal to square root of, so 2 into what is H? H is 10 to the power of minus 3 into what is mass of proton? Mass of proton is 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 27 divided by what is E? Electrical field 5 into 10 to the power of 3 into what is charge of proton 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19. So simplify, you will get the answer. This 1.6, this 1.6 will get cancelled. Here, when you are simplifying, time taken for proton as root of, here you are getting 2 divided by 5 multiplied it with. On simplifying, in the numerator, you will be getting 10 to the power of minus 30. Then in the denominator, you will be able to get it out as what? You will be able to get it out as 19 10 to the power of 16. So you will be getting 27 minus 10, 30, isn't it? 10 to the power of minus 30 in the numerator. In the denominator, it is minus 16. So what you will be able to get? You will be able to get it out as 10 to the power of minus 16. When it is taken to the numerator, it is plus 16, so 14. So 10 power minus 14. So time taken for proton is root of 2 divided by 5 into 10 to the power of minus 7. What is this 2 divided by 5? I can write Tp is equal to root of 2 by 5 is 0.4 multiplied it with 10 to the power of minus 7. How I can write this? Tp can be written as root of 4 into 10 to the power of minus 1, isn't it? So I can write this as 0.4 as 0.02. When you are taking root, you will be able to get it out as 0.2 into 0.2, isn't it? It is considered to be 0.04. So simplify and get the answer. Root of 0.4 into 10 power minus 7. Till that I can simplify, no problem. After that, root of 0.4 we have to get. So root of 0.4 is 0.6324 into 10 to the power of minus 7. Or in terms of 10 power minus 9, the Tp equal to 63.24 into 10 power minus 9 seconds, or Tp equal to 63.24 nanoseconds. If so, in previous case also I can write time taken for electron as 1.5 nanoseconds. Isn't it? See, when you are considering neutron, neutron is taken to be chargeless. So when neutron is falling down, the neutron is falling under freely. So we have to consider free fall. Free fall condition has to be taken. Free fall condition has to be taken. If that is the case, we can write force F is equal to m into g. So instead of A, the acceleration is g, which is equal to F divided by m. So if I want to calculate acceleration, I have to write it out as A, which is equal to g. So what is the time of flight? We know S is equal to ut plus of at square, where S is equal to h. U initial downward velocity is 0 plus of into, instead of A, I have to put g. Instead of t, I am putting tn, the square. Now you substitute what is h. H is 10 power minus 3. Half into g, it is given as 10 into tn square. So what is tn square? Make a cross multiplication. 2 into 10 power minus 3 divided by, take this 10 to the other side, you will be able to get it out as 10. Simplify, you take this to the numerator, tn square is equal to 2 into 10 power minus 4. So tn is equal to root 2 into 10 power minus 2. So what is the value of tn then? Tn will be then equal to, what is this root 2? 1.414 into 10 power of what? 10 power of minus 2 seconds. This is considered to be the time taken for what? Time taken for time taken for what? Time taken for neutron. Isn't it? Very simple concept. Will be reaching first. The particle which is having the least time taken will be reaching the will be reaching the other plate first. So since electron is having electron is having least time. Electron will reach the bottom plate. Electron will reach the bottom plate first. Bottom plate initially or first. Hope you should have understood. Come on, go through the problem again. During a thunderstorm, the movement of water molecules within the clouds creates friction, partially causing the bottom part of the cloud. Cloud bottom part acts as one of the plate, which is considered to be negatively charged. Then this implies the bottom of the cloud and the ground. So here you are having the ground. Both acts as a parallel plate capacitor. The electrical field between the cloud and the ground exceeds the dielectric breakdown of air. So electrical field maximum is given, which is 3 into 10 to the power of 6 volt per meter. Lightning will occur. If the bottom part of the cloud is 1000 meter above from the ground, so from ground to cloud, the distance available is taken to be 1000 meters. Determine the electric potential difference. The first concept asked is V or dV that exists between cloud and the ground. See, we know that the electrical field is equal to modulus of electrical field is equal to dV divided by dx or dr. So potential difference dV is equal to E into distance dr. So dV equal to what is E? 3 into 10 to the power of 6 multiplied it with what is the dr? It is considered to be 1000. So dV is equal to 3 into 10 to the power of 3 volt as the answer. So potential difference between the ground and the cloud is 3 into 10 to the power of 3 volt. The next one, what is B? The next option is yes.
6 plus 3.
Sorry, 3 into 10 to the power of 3 into 10 to the power of 6. 3 into 10 power 3 into 10 to the power of 6. So potential difference dV is equal to 3 into 10 to the power of 9 volt as its answer. Okay, no problem. Then the next one. What is the next one? Option B. What is option B? How much electrostatic potential energy is transferred if the charge moved is 25 coulomb? So as we know, the potential energy equal to epsilon is equal to V into the charge moved Q. So potential energy epsilon is equal to what is V? 3 into 10 to the power of 9 into what is Q? 25 coulomb. So the answer is the potential energy stored is 75 into 10 to the power of 9 joule is the energy that was being transferred when 25 joules of or 25 coulombs of charge is transferred.